Wow. Lilia, you saw that? Did you like it? Were you scared? You were scared.
Yo decía, pero ¿y este es el pasaje?
I'm just scared of the dinosaurs.
You scared of the dinosaur?
I'm just scared of the dinosaurs.
King Kong 360 3D. You know, technically King Kong has been a part of our tour since 1986. For anyone that's ridden the tour pre-2008, you remember our original King Kong attraction. This one got added to the tour back in 2010, so it's actually a little over 10 years old. And it is all thanks to our partnership with Weta Digital. Weta Digital is a brilliant company based in New Zealand. However, they came stateside to help supervise the production of this attraction. You can kind of see that there on your screens. A little behind the scenes, in order to make the tram move around, that is actually what we do. So we have hydraulics under our track, and that just kind of moves our track from side to side. We're never really moving frontwards or backwards. And then you may have caught this as we rolled out. That's what the stage looks like. We ultimately drive right in between two giant movie screens that are 40 feet tall. They're 180 feet long. They wrap around us almost completely. Doing animation, though, is a whole other story.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always want people in mind. You're looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you guys take it that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
The team at Weta are just incredible. They've won multiple Academy Awards, of course, for things like Lord of the Rings and Planet of the Apes. I love District 9. They put that out a long time ago, but supposedly we're getting a District 10 sometime soon. We're going to shift gears a little bit, focus on the left where we got some really fun picture cars. Picture cars are basically any vehicle that appears on camera. Picture cars can do a lot of things, like help support the time period. Back to the Future, the Flintstones are evidence of that. We're going to see the two Fast and Furious cars a little later on in the tour. We got some fun Jurassic Park vehicles here. The Gyrosphere from Jurassic World. Transformers left us a few stunt vehicles after they finished filming the first one here. The tank's made of wood, not metal. That way it's lighter weight, so you can do stunt scenes with it. Blow it up, hanging off a crane, flying in the air. A lot of times we're making picture cars out of alternative materials. We actually have a mill here on the lot that can build vehicles. We can bake them in an oven if they're made out of like foam rubber and fiberglass. You can see an example of that there from Serenity on our screens. Pyrotechnics. A lot of times we use duplicates. They say they use 13 DeLoreans for Back to the Future. We don't have one of them here, though. There is one at the Peterson Automotive Museum on Wilshire, so go check that out. Right now, though, we are about to check out Dino Territory.
Wanna go see the dinosaurs? Wanna take off the glasses?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You are now surrounded by set pieces and props from the first three Jurassic Park movies. That would be Jurassic Park: The Lost World and Jurassic Park 2.
The dinosaurs.
Oh no! Oh wow! Oh yeah, we have a little Dilophosaurus nest. Little dino action. Spinosaurus sitting up here on the left.
Look at the
dinosaur. It's got me right in the forehead.
Came out in 93, which it's almost 30 years old. If you're watching Netflix's The Movies That Made Us, they do one on Jurassic Park, and it's really cool. It talks about their use of digital effects. Here's the thing, we didn't really have digital effects, well, like we know it, until Jurassic Park.
Right in the forehead.
ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. There was a couple animators there that decided to go rogue, and they animated a full dinosaur. They showed it to some of the producers when they were in looking at different things. They loved it so much That was the direction they ended up going with the movie. Now, they, of course, combined these digital effects with practical work by Stan Winston, obviously props and set pieces like what you just saw there to really bring these movies to life in a way no one had ever seen before, which is why Jurassic Park is still one of the most successful movies of all time. Now, a lot of practical effects are utilized on films like that, including weather. Weather just looks a little better when it's done practically. So we're going to do a little weather demonstration for you here on your left. This area is next thing, let's see, we've had this for a long time. If you remember a comedy called Three Amigos that filmed out there. Steve Martin and Jason Nacho Libre with Jack Black. Episodes of Shameless, ER, House, The OC. There we go.
It's on the rain.
Oh, look, scooters.
Sprinklers.
Pretty good depiction of what you might use on the film set. We will use what we call rain towers when they put them up pretty high, so that they look like actual rain. We got to use pretty big drops also. The reason for that is otherwise you just won't see it.
Yeah, because real raindrops is too thin.
I've gotten to be in a couple rain scenes. I will let you know, everything on set gets drenched, so you do try.
Look at this water.
Otherwise, it's coming right with it. Watch out.
That's hot.
Is our flash flood. You know, that is our oldest attraction. That has been on the tour since 1968. Still looks pretty good.
That's
There
hot.
it is on screen in the movie Big Fat Liar.
From wet to dry.
Yep, now we're in the desert.
Area Barlow is used in Star Trek Picard as a Romulan planet in the first season. It was also used in the first season of Westworld as the town of Pariah, which makes sense. This is our Western set. Welcome to 6 Points. Now we call it 6 Points because we used to actually have 6 full Western streets that met here in the middle. Now we have one. But it looked gorgeous in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if you saw that movie. Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in that. All the scenes where Rick Dalton, Leo's character, was in the show Lancer, that was actually done here, hey guys. If you saw that movie, hey! The actors also in those scenes, Timothy Olyphant and Luke Perry in those scenes. So all those scenes took place out here. They shot out here for about a month and a half. It was incredible. Just on your screens you can see a little bit of a scene that Jimmy Fallon did out here. I just want you to see what it looks like dressed. All right, here we go. We laid dirt down on the street. It truly transforms it. They did that for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They also did it for a movie called Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. It's on HBO Max, I believe, currently. Played a gold rush era term. At the end of 6 Points, we got a beautiful little body of water here. This little lake is called Park Lake. Over the years, that's been used in episodes of Desperate Housewives, The Good Place. It was used at the end of one of my favorite zombie remakes, Dawn of the Dead. The very last scene was shot out in Park Lake. But there is a monster movie from the 50s that filmed out here called Creature from the Black Lagoon. This little lake played the entire Amazon River. There you go. All the above water scenes like this one were shot here in Park Lake. All the underwater stuff was actually shot in Florida, and they combined the two for the film. Now, the creature joined the ranks of monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Bride. All our classic monster movies were being done on this lot from the 20s through the 50s. Imagine, if you will, we don't have satellite dishes or sound studios out here. We have a giant European village set. That is what you can see there on your screens. We used it over and over and over again in all these films that we would churn out several a year. Now we still have a little bit of Little Europe left. Actually, we call it Little Europe, I should say. We're going to look at it today. This was used for 4 years for one of my favorite TV shows, The Good Place on NBC.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead. Cool. This location, the afterlife, I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad. What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
He was here for all 4 years. If you're a fan of the show, you'll recognize a lot of the set dressing that is still left from it. The train station is still up here. And I will let you know, they would reel in a real steam engine when they would take them to the medium place or the bad place, and they would roll it right up to the train station here. It was always a lot of fun. That show was so wonderful. If you haven't seen it, I just highly, highly, highly recommend it. This area of Little Europe, I mean, you can kind of tell it has a bit of a fairy tale feel to it. Disney has really capitalized on that. They used it for a version of Cinderella with Whitney Houston, Brandy, and Whoopi Goldberg. That was all shot out here. They also used it in Princess Diaries, A Royal Engagement. This was Genovia. It was also used in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the very first movie for Disney, shot at the beginning out here. So go back and watch it. When the pirates raid Port Royal and kidnap Elizabeth Swann, that's Little Europe. Also, it was Tortuga, Dead Men's Show, so they used it for a couple different locations, actually. TV shows, if you remember old shows like Alias, Chuck, Heroes, they would film out here all the time. We also used it a lot for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They would come out here and just have it play different countries. I used to love it when Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel would film out here. And one of my favorite vampire shows, True Blood, filmed a couple different episodes. As I always say, it goes back to our monsters, our horror heritage here at Universal that we are so proud of. You can see a montage here of kind of more modern horror films. So that's Dawn of the Dead that I was talking about a little earlier. You know, horror has always been on the cutting edge of technology. You know, when we talk about these early horror films, you know, they're going to show the Invisible Man here in a second. You think about it, this movie was shot in the 30s. We didn't have digital effects, but we were able to do a scene that you'll see in a second, like this, using editing and mirrors and lighting. I mean, it's just incredible. The makeup being done by Jack Pierce, Bud Westmore, Lon Chaney was just breakthrough. We, of course, celebrate our horror heritage every year with Halloween Horror Nights, which is coming this year in September. We've already announced we're doing a maze based on The Bride of Frankenstein. All right, we're going to head into stage 50. Now, inside this stage, we actually shot an episode for a TV show some of you may remember called Bones with David Boreanaz and Emily Deschanel. Here it is.
Dime, Goya, y aquí, ¿qué me toca? Agua.
Kind of see how they use mostly the right side platform. We always have it set up to look like a subway station. And today, we're going to do a cool Stacy, hold on tight because I think it's very right. We still have this speed that it all resets in 15 seconds. It's ready to go. use the earthquake stuff. I just want to show you so we've seen it. So here it is. So the episode, by the way, is called Bones on the Blue Line. At the beginning of the episode, Dr. Squeeze is in a subway accident, so they utilized our mechanical effects in there for this scene. But please remain seated on the tram, especially as we head towards the small town of Amity Island. Oh, this. Amity, of course, the perfect vacation destination. Until we had a bit of a shark problem. I think I see one in the water.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's headed for us.
Agárrame la niña, ven.
No, he's headed for the boat. He's headed for the boat. Okay. Oh, he's headed for the diver. Oh, man. Okay. Well, you know, hopefully they've trained him in what to do.
Oh no.
Okay.
You failed the training.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep going.
Failed training.
You know what? I think we'll be okay if you're back here where it's safe behind all these gasoline barrels. This looks good. Oh, there's the dog.
It's definitely hot. It definitely got the effects of heat.
That isn't only been a goodie here on the tour, our Jaws attraction, of course based on a movie that did not film here, by the way, that filmed all of the East Coast. Shot over by Martha's Vineyard, which is partly why they had so many challenges filming that. Now, the end of the story is that Jaws became the #1 movie of all time for a while. Hugely successful. It came out in the summer of '75. But the production itself was plagued with issues, a lot of them having to do with the mechanical sharks. Ultimately, we built them here in LA. They tested them in all these freshwater tanks and said, they're good to go. They ship them over to the East Coast. They drop them right into the salt water of the Atlantic. And guess what? They broke on the first day of filming.
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio waves. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
We just waited around. We just waited and waited and waited.
The shark worked well enough for a while there, and I think it's a fault time. So I really owe the shark a lot.
Clip right there, that is taken from a documentary called The Shark Is Still Working. That is really good, all about that movie. Jaws, I still think, is one of the best horror films of all time. Speaking of horror, the house coming up on your right is Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses. Wow. However, it also was the Chicken Ranch in the movie musical Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, starring Dolly Parton and Mark Reynolds. This area over the years was used by Ghost Whisper, The Mentalist, About a Boy, and most recently Good Girls. The street coming up on our left, where we see the code because we have production today, is Wisteria Lane from Desperate Housewives. So we're not going to see it today because, again, we have production down there. And if you're watching Never Have I Ever on Netflix, that is their main neighborhood as well. So if you know the show, Davey and her mom, they live in Susan's house from Desperate Housewives. There you go. That street, by the way, is called Colonial Street. It was originally built in the 80s for a movie called The Burbs with Tom Hanks. You can see how we've used it through the years here.
I like that.
You like that house?
Even this area of the lot has been used on screen. If you know the Netflix movie Bird Box, a lot of it shot in the brush around us here. Also, this roadway is played a highway in episodes of 911 on Fox. They'll do big car crash scenes. Speaking of cars, we've got Picture Cars Part 2 coming up around the corner. If you're a Fast and Furious fan, you're going to like this little display here. We got Dom's Black Dodge Charger front and center. And then we have a couple stock cars. The orange and blue stock cars are from F9, the latest in the franchise. The yellow Juice Coupe, that's actually a historic car that goes back to American Graffiti. We have a couple Transformers in the back, Bumblebee and a Decepticon. The purple car's from Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, they drove all these up here. So, in fact, even the 57 Ford sedan is from not only Leave It to Beaver, but the original movie Psycho. That was Marion Crane's car, and that seems fitting because we are now arriving at the Bates Motel.
Right there on the right.
Oh yeah. That's Psycho
in the house. Psycho. Okay, so Psycho came out in 1960. It was filmed almost entirely here at Universal. And the house that you're about to see
got him in the window.
is the original. It was built back in 1959. It is a piece of Hollywood history. Psycho is considered by many to be one of the greatest films of all time, if not one of the greatest horror films of all time. Here's a little secret. We originally built this house with only 2 walls, the front and the side wall. That's all we needed for the movie. We didn't add the other 2 walls until 1964 when we started doing the studio tour. Behind the Psycho house, we still have the remains of a crash site set built here for the movie War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds starred Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning, and Tim Robbins. It was directed by Steven Spielberg, and the production designer for this was Rick Carter.
That's what you sit down and talk about it. I thought, what if it's going to be because it's just something you don't see. You're doing good. Pretty cool.
We got a toilet down there. They wasn't playing.
Get in.
Did the bites.
Obviously, the biggest part of this set is the plane. The plane was purchased from a graveyard about 2 hours north of us in Mojave at an airport where you can rent and buy planes. It was only about $60,000 to get the 747. They took it apart into pieces. They trucked each piece here. That cost them roughly $200,000 and also took them about 2 months to do. So the entire set took 2.5 months or so to construct. They only shot for 1 week. 1 week of shooting. After that, they gave us the set for the studio tour, so we've had it ever since. We are about 10 minutes away from the end of the tour. We'll be returning to the theme park shortly. Once again, if you have an emergency, pull the cord. I'll be back to assist you. But again, please remain seated on the tram. Okay, so we're back in the furthermost corner of the lot. We're doing a little construction here right in front of our Falls Lake location. That big blue screen out there is part of it. So what we can do are big water scenes. Sully with Tom Hanks shot this plane landing scene out there. So this was shot out there for roughly about 2 months. We have a pool you can't see, but we can fill it up. It's about 25 feet deep at its deepest point, so we could put big set pieces out there for Sully. And in this shot, the plane, the people, the water are all real. The digital part is New York, New Jersey in the background, so that was what was on the blue screen. For some more recent things we shot, that's kind of what Falls Lake is all about. With Agent going on.
Tell you who I am, boy. I'm the reason bad guys use a nightlight. I'm the reason the boogeyman begs his mama to look under his bed. And I'm the reason you just lost control of this whole operation. My name is Special Agent Luke Hobbs of the U.S. Diplomatic Security Service. And as of 16.9 seconds ago, I'm the man in charge.
The hell you are.
Let me clue you in on 2 things, sweet cheeks.
to room in one. Alright, look guys, we're gonna keep Shaw from finding. To keep you safe, we need your help. We don't want the syndicate tracking us here, so put away your cameras and turn off your cell phones. One flash or one ringtone could give us away.
I need y'all to take this real serious.
Okay, pull into the next bay and we'll meet you in there.
Daddy.